Welcome, everybody. It is time for my final video of 2025, and that video is telling you my top 10 movies of 2025. This is always one of my favorite videos to do, obviously, because I'm talking about the best of an entire year. I do rankings every year. So welcome back, everyone. My name is Max Newberg. Welcome back, everyone, to Max Talks Movies. If you guys are new, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so notified when my videos hit the channel. Heading into 2026, guys, we're almost at 400 subscribers. Really mean the world to me to start 2026 on such a great note. I do movie, TV show reviews, added feature reactions, movie franchise rankings every Monday. I break down the box office, and every day, every once a week, I do an awards season video. So please subscribe, ring the bell. Comment down below. What are your 10 favorite movies of the year, or maybe even 10 movies that you thought were great that I didn't get a chance to talk about here on this video today? Would also mean a lot. Please also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. Also, down in the description below, you can find my link to my letterbox. I rank every single movie that I've seen in the entire year. Right now, I'm at over 100 movies. So let's see where all the movies I've seen, where they rank on my list. You can go to my letterbox. You'll keep up with it throughout the whole year because I do rankings. And if you want to see it before it hits YouTube, letterbox is a great way to follow me as well. So before I get into this video, guys, I will say one thing. I have done full-fledged 7 to 10 minute reviews for each of these movies. So I'm going to try to spend 2 to 3 minutes on each movie here. So if you want a full-fledged 10-minute, I guess, review of these movies, you can go to my YouTube channel and my playlist of movie reviews where you can find all the reviews I've done this year. Now let's also get into some honorable mentions, just like my worst movies list. I'm going to give you 3 honorable mentions that were the 3 ones that just missed my top 10 of the year. First, I'm going to talk about The Roses, one of the more underrated comedies of the year. Benedict Cumberbatch, Olivia Colman. Really liked this movie. Saw it in an advanced screening in August. I think it's a really funny movie, really sweet movie, very chaotic marriage movie, but I love both actors, so I really love that movie. Avatar, Fire and Ash just missed my cut. I really enjoyed Avatar, Fire and Ash. It's one of the more epic experiences I've had in a movie in a long time. I thought it was excellent. Not as good as Way of Water. Way of Water was in my top 10 in 2022, but Fire and Ash, and the movie that just missed my top 10 that I am dying to get into my top 10, but it could not get in, which was Friendship from A24, starring Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. Amazing year for Tim Robinson. Chair Company is one of my favorite shows of the year. Friendship, one of my favorite movies of the year. If you like Tim Robinson, you can definitely check out Friendship on Max right now, but it is my probably favorite comedy of the year. I thought it was hilarious, fantastic. So that is my honorable mentions. Let's get into my top 10 movies of 2025. Starting at number 10, guys, could be a hot take with how, I guess, low it is on this list, but One Battle After Another. I think it's a really excellent movie that I think it's PTA's best movie in since There Will Be Blood, which is now, I guess, 20 years ago. And I was very nervous about the movie because I just did not like PTA's last 2 movies, Licorice Pizza or Phantom Thread. But again, this cast, and I thought this movie was a blast of a over 2.5 hour long movie. It just moves might be the most well-paced movie I have seen all year long. The movie just has so much momentum, energy to it. I also think it just has such amazing performances. DiCaprio's really good. Chase Infinity's really good. I still think Sean Penn and Tiana Taylor were the 2 strongest performances in the movie. Benicio's really good in supporting role. Johnny Greenwood delivers such an amazing score. One of my favorite sequences of the year is in this movie with the car chasing at the end, involving Sean Penn, his character, with Leo and Chase Infinity, that whole car chase, the very over the hills, amazing sequence. And as I said, it just moves quick. It's very funny. It's trying to have a good statement to it as well. The only thing that holds it back from me again to like the top 5 is, again, for me, as I always say, the lead characters, no matter what your beliefs are, they are terrorists, in my opinion. They are threatening people with guns, innocent people with guns, terrorism, in my opinion, no matter, even though I agree with the beliefs that DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor's characters are fighting for, I think they do cross the line too much in the first act. And it leaves me only really rooting for Chase Infinity in this movie. And she is really terrific. So under the radar how good she is in this movie. But One Battle After Another for me is at number 10. Coming in at number 9 for me, another awards hopeful movie that could be a factor this award season, obviously, is Hamnet. Um, Chloe Zhao was not one of my favorite filmmakers going into this movie. I was not the biggest fan of both Nomadland and Eternals, but I am, if you know me personally, I always talk about Jessie Buckley. I think she's an amazing actress, and obviously Paul Mescal. But I'm not a big Shakespeare guy, but I thought this was a really excellent movie where it really did explore this really traumatic event where obviously the wife of Shakespeare, played by Jessie Buckley, she has these kids, and this really traumatic thing happens, and they really show you two totally different perspectives. Both are parents in the situation who have two totally different perspectives on such a same traumatic event where Shakespeare's busy trying to make money and these events and he's away from a long time and she is there at home every single day taking care of the kids. Whose fault is whose? Is there really anyone at fault? And it really leads to one of the most powerful third acts of the entire year when you get that big Shakespeare scene in front of the whole crowd, and Jessie Buckley is sitting there in the front row in awe of the scene where Noah Jupe is performing. Then even when Paul Mescal and Buckley are two of the best performances of the entire year. It's a gorgeous movie. I do think it drags a bit in the movie. Chloe Zhao's movies are too slow for me. And I like slow burns, but this one was a bit too slow for my taste. But I still think Hannah is such an excellent movie, and definitely I felt something really emotionally deep and rich in those final 30 minutes. So Hamnet comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 for me, guys, is Frankenstein. I was someone for my whole life was just not a Guillermo del Toro person. I just didn't care for his early work, including like Shape of Water, Pacific Rim, These are not like iconic movies to me. But then when he did his Pinocchio, I was blown away by Pinocchio, one of my favorite movies of that year. So the cast here, and I loved Frankenstein. This was a movie that I was not expected to really love this much because the first half of the movie is telling this very chaotic, frantic person in Victor Frankenstein, played by Oscar Isaac, who is so driven to create this creature. And I think it does a really good job exploring the frantic, chaotic, but the drive to be great with Victor Frankenstein. And when it happens, the passion goes away and the immaturity happens, and the fact that he doesn't really care now what happens to the creature. Then it becomes a whole other movie now about the creature with Jacob Elordi and the fact that where does he see himself as human? Is he a thing? Is he a creature? Is he human? Is he nothing? And they really did a great job in this movie, really exploring humanity, both with a real human being, Victor Frankenstein, as well as the creature. And they did a really good job. Jacob Elordi is one of the best performances of the year. Oscar Isaac is going also under the radar, not getting enough credit for how brilliant I think he is in this movie. I think it's the most gorgeous movie of the entire year. The production design, the score, the direction, you just feel like no one else could have directed this other than Del Toro. I do think there's some issues with some of the supporting cast. And I don't think it kind of drags. It's 2.5 hours long, but I think this is a gothic epic that I'm usually not a big fan of, that I am over the moon about. Coming in at number 7, guys, is F1 the movie. This, excuse me, probably is, yes, it is, the most fun I have had in a movie all year in 2025. Coming off Top Gun Maverick, I was really excited for this, even though I'm not someone who watches F1 and not really into racing like that. But this movie is a blast of a 2.5 hours, where it feels like it's like an hour 40 movie. And I didn't know the runtime of the movie until I left. I was like, wow, that was 2.5 hours. Holy crap. They really put you in the seat, just like in Top Gun Maverick when you're with the pilots in the air. You're also with everyone in the cockpits and racing cars with Brad Pitt and Damson Idris. As one of the best soundtracks of the whole year, song-wise, as well as the Hans Zimmer score. And Joseph Kosinski might be the most exciting blockbuster filmmaker we have today, mixed in with Brad Pitt being such a movie star and so dynamic in this leading role. You really have to root for him. And Damson Idris has a very interesting plot line as well, where he kind of seems devalued by the fact that this old guy is trying to save the day. Javier Bardem fighting for this team as well. I love this movie. I think it's going to be probably the most rewatchable movie for me of the entire year. And I can't really wait to rewatch this movie for years to come. Coming in number 6 for me, guys, is, let me find this movie. Sorry, guys, I am Just putting this together now. And here it is. Roofman is at number 6. I love Roofman. It is a movie that has sadly gone so under the radar. This movie should be an awards season. I can make a whole rant about how this movie should be an awards season. But the first 20 minutes of this movie, I was like, I'm kind of bored. The moment Channing Tatum at that point, like his character breaks out of prison and we get him hiding at the Toys R Us and his relationship with Kirsten Dunst, this becomes one of the most optimistic and positive films of the entire year. And it's also a really heartbreaking movie because Channing Tatum's character, who is this criminal, but he's clearly is doing things for the right reasons. Not saying that he should be robbing people and having guns in people's faces while he robs people, but it is such a heartwarming movie and also heartbreaking because he's trying to do the right thing. He wants to be there for his family, but he thinks he has to do more than just be there. His daughter in the movie just wants him, just like Kirsten Dunst's family just wants him. They don't need all the flowers and all of the presents. They just want him, and he just could never understand that because he always thought it was about I need to bring the best presents and money and all these other things to feel valued. And Jeffrey Manchester is a heartbreaking but also heartwarming individual. Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst have amazing chemistry. The supporting cast here is really strong. And it's hard not to have a smile on your face, but also nervousness where every time he's about to do something stupid, you're like, don't do it, dude. Don't do it, dude. Even though we wouldn't have a movie unless he does some of the stupid stuff. It's again, I think it really shows the positive side where not everyone, not every criminal out there, not every great person, sometimes great people do bad things and make mistakes. And this is someone who has a good heart, just made the wrong mistakes. And I really, really love Roofman. Coming in at number 5, guys, is Warfare, a really brilliant A24 movie, co-directed by a ex-military person, Ray Mendoza, as well as Alex Garland. And this is a cast of full of the next big actors in Hollywood over the next 20, 30 years with Will Poulter and Cosmo Jarvis, Kit Connor, Noah Centineo, Joseph Quinn, Charles Melton, just an all-star cast. But this movie for me is interesting because there's not like this breathtaking story here. This is just throwing you in the day of a life of someone during the war and being a military person in this compound, the day in, day out, or just a day in the life of someone in this particular situation. And this movie has obviously really good performances, but it's supposed to give you this visceral, authentic, real take on being in the military and the day of a life of being in the middle of a war like this. And I had anxiety. I was extremely nervous. The sound design is impeccable in this movie. You feel every blow throughout the entire film. And at points, you think to yourself, how could any human being put themselves through this? And it shows you how the braveness and the sacrifice that our military do on a yearly and daily basis, just for us, for me to be able to talk to you guys today on a camera and tell you about the experiences like this. It's a very moving movie, but also it's a film that just puts you in. It's intense, it's visceral, it's real, and it's a movie that it's hard not to keep watching because, yes, do you need to know all the characters' names or their backstories? No. You're just thrown in there. This is what it's like, and I think it's one of the more visceral, authentic films you'll see ever, honestly, in the movie theater. Coming in number 4, another movie I think also completely underwatched is This Thing On? I adore this movie because Will Arnett delivers one of the 2 or 3 best performances for me of the entire year, as him and Laura Dern's character are basically about to have a divorce, but it's not like they hate each other. There's just something off in the relationship, and they just don't feel like it's good to continue on. And we see equally, honestly, how both are navigating divorce. And Will Arnett goes to do the stand-up comedy to have kind of his therapy on the divorce. And I think it's such a moving, authentic take on relationships, on marriage, I think relationships in general, friendships or romantic. And sometimes we need breaks from people, but sometimes we don't understand what the other person wants in a particular relationship or friendship. We talked to other people like Will Arnett, really good side cast with Andra Day and Bradley Cooper as well. Bradley Cooper, his by far his most intimate movie, but the film feels so dynamic camera movement wise. It always feels like there's something going on. And still, my maybe my favorite scene of the entire year is the scene with Will Arnett on the stand-up comedy scene where Laura Dern is surprisingly also at the same stand-up comedy show watching her ex-husband do the stand-up routine about their divorce and how it turns into this hopeful, optimistic look where I had, Will Arnett's character's like, I had sex and I thought I would feel great about moving on, and I still, when I was having sex or afterwards, I just kept thinking about how what I'm missing without having Laura Dern in his life. And it was an extremely emotional scene. The ending is really satisfying. This is one of the most emotional I've been, probably the most emotional I've been in a movie all year long. So Is This Thing On comes in number 4. Coming in number 3 for me, guys, is Weapons. Zach Cregger is one of my shortlist favorite filmmakers working today. Barbarian is still in my top 3 or 4 horror movies of the last 5 years. And while I don't like this movie as much as Barbarian, I still think Weapons is so unique. One of the most original, probably is the most original movie I've seen in the movies all year long. It has a really tough task because you have basically 5 different lead characters: Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich, Benedict Wong, Austin Abrams. And they give you the same movie just in all these different perspectives. And 99% of movies who try this strategy fail. It feels repetitive. It feels overly done. Like, we get it. But this movie just had a new wrench it threw in every single time. It gave you that different perspective. It was on the edge of your seat. And it was very real when how all these parents were taking the idea of their kids are missing in this one class. There are a lot of references to current day issues with schools and what sadly happened to kids in this country and the world today, how it's unsafe being at school and how the parents deal with that. And I don't think this movie threw those messages in your face. It kind of let you breathe and settle into the movie. Brolin in particular is really good in this movie because he brings that authenticity of a scared but brave parent in the situation. And Amy Madigan, also one of the best performances of the year, the best villain of the year. She is horrifying to watch because she is so unpredictable but very calculated. The practical effects as well. Again, it's a easy film to like dismiss because you feel like it's not as scary as some people are saying it is. I think the scary part is more comes with the story than actually building to cheap jump scares and things of that nature. So Weapons for me comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, the most recent film I saw to get on this list, and that is Marty Supreme. I love this movie. This is a breath of fresh air. It's a true story, very loosely based on Marty Mauser. And Marty Mauser in this movie is not portrayed to be a hero, a good person, a good Samaritan. I wouldn't call Marty Mauser that. It's refreshing to have such a flawed lead character in a movie like this. But the reason why I love this movie is the chaotic nature of this movie. With Josh Safdie, who directed Uncut Gems and Good Time, brings that same chaotic flair, that same music energy, but the pacing. It's such a well-paced movie. Because every time Marty Mauser thinks he outsmarted a situation, he gets 2 fails. Then he gets a victory. Then he gets 2 fails. And you kind of get the ups and downs of Marty Mauser's situation. And I'm just was in awe of watching someone drive to be great. It's all about watching someone who believes they are the best at their craft, and no one in the world believes him that he is this good, this important to the world, all the stuff. He sees it. And he'll do whatever it takes, say whatever it takes, do whatever it takes for people to see his greatness. And again, does Marty Mauser cross the line? Of course he does, multiple times throughout the movie. But I think it's Timothée Chalamet's best performance of his career because you just see that determination in this movie. He can be funny, he can be serious, he can be very emotional. Odessa Azion, also one of my favorite supporting performances of the entire year. And there's a huge like twist, like 2/3 into the movie that I just did not see coming. And my whole theater was kind of in awe of what was going on. It changes the whole second act of the movie that I really appreciate. But Kevin O'Leary is really good. Tyler, the creator, is really good. It has one of my favorite scores and soundtracks of the entire, where it's like an 80s, 90s music choices for a 50s movie. I think it works really well. It gives the movie such a unique vibe. And I know it's a true story, but this movie just feels so different, so unique, so original to many movies that we see come out in theaters every year. So Marty Supreme comes in at number two. Coming in at number one for me, guys, is Sinners. Still the movie to beat for me in 2025. Ryan Coogler, also one of my favorite filmmakers. Did know he would make a movie better than Creed 1 to me. I really like Black Panther. I love Wakanda Forever, Fruitvale Station. Just one of the most important filmmakers of the last of my lifetime. And Sinners is what I love because I am a horror fan. I am a genre movie fan. And the first like two acts of this movie is also just a perfect piece of storytelling. We got these two twins. They have this love, and you see the love of music with Miles Keaton's character, this culture, the idea of what they're trying to accomplish with this, with this event. But then it becomes a vampire movie very quickly, and it blends real situations, real racial issues, real equality issues, religious issues, all of these things into this movie, and it still sticks with it the whole runtime, and then it becomes a vampire movie. And that's when it hit the next level for me. Michael B. Jordan, one of the best performances of the year, playing both sets of twins. He is excellent in this movie. Haley Steinfeld, I think, is going so under the radar in this movie. Jack O'Connell, Wumi Musaku, Delroy Lindo, Miles Keaton, as I mentioned. My favorite music of the entire Ludwig Göransson proves why he is one of the best composers working today. It's one of the best looking movies of the year. I still think maybe the scene of the year, or one of the two best scenes of the year, as I said earlier, or Is This Thing On, but the scene where Miles Keaton finally sings in front of everyone and you get they show the different generations going on. It's all these combinations of music and people. It's really a jaw-dropping scene. I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times. Maybe my favorite post-credit scene ever to a movie, where we catch up with the characters after the fact, decades later, with the older version of Miles Keaton's character. Just such a moving, emotional scene. And I adore this movie. It's so emotional. It can be funny. It's so relevant. And it's a very powerful movie that really speaks to me overall this year. So Sinners, guys, is my favorite movie of 2025. What is your ranking of the movies for 2025? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you guys in another video very soon.